The very fact that the technology and innovation takes the last part of this particular conference indicates two things. One, technology is very important, so we will have the last word in all the deliberation that has happened. Or the other side is that, oh, technologies are something which are not relevant, they can be packaged, they can be put in the margins. I would like to assume that it is very important and we have the last word, and therefore, I just would like to brief in next 15 minutes the power of technology and bring performance enhancement in electricity sector, and innovation is the key implementation of new technologies. Working for Atomic Energy Commission for donkey years, and having developed a self-sustained technology in nuclear sector may invite some kind of a skepticism from the audience saying that, oh, we have spent so much money and we are only getting about 5,600 megawatts and wind has gone up and all that. But my dear friends, please understand, and I'm not holding brief to my Atomic Energy Commission scientists, but today if India is proud and India can develop any amount of nuclear power plants in this country, not holding anything to be ransomed by the developed world, it is only because huge amount of investments went into this sector as early as 1960s and 50s when Dr. Bhabha with the complete kind of a blessing from Nehru created this infrastructure. I'm very proud of that particular legacy, and therefore technologies are very, very crucial in this particular energy sector. We seem to be assuming that the technologies will come from somewhere else and we will receive the technology and manage those technologies. And we have seen the repercussions of such an assumption. My dear friends, technologies are really going to very, very high level. There's a disruption happening, and if you really read these advances that will transform life, business, and global economy by McKinsey's Global Institute, May 2013, it creates a goosebumps. That's what is important. Very often, these things never come to the central part of our discussions. I agree, I mean, all the other important, and I'm not for a moment I'm saying the whole issue of implementation, the infrastructure, the policy, the regulators, the whole things are important. But let's not for a moment ignore the fact that there are huge developments that are happening. Is this disruptive? I mean, when you see this on the left side, a $5 million supercomputer is now available as a $600, having the same power. And that's the power of technology. If we're able to handle that, the so-called problems and whatever we feel that we have created such a huge genie out of this bottle of infrastructure, if we're able to handle that, a 5 million supercomputer can be done in $600. See the advantage, see the range of reduction. At 230 million knowledge workers are created today, at 3 times increase in the efficiency of the gas wells, and more than 80, that's where I work, 85% drop in the cost of per watt of solar PV. My dear friends, it looks almost magical. And if you're able to handle that, what is the economic potential? 2 to 3 billion internet access, 5 to 7 trillion economic impact, $100 for the sequencing of human genome, which was considered impossible just 5 years back. And can we see the impact of this particular sequencing of the human genome? 25% solar in global electricity will, for sure, will happen. The oil and gas and coal, when they disappear in next 4 to 5 decades, solar will get into the center stage. Drivers cause death reduced by 1.5 million by autonomous cars. So these are the disruptive technologies. And therefore, when I assume the class of 7, which has been now said that is the focus of the new technologies, the disruptive technology, you will find that energy domain occupies 5 important technologies. Out of those 7, from automation knowledge work to Internet of Things, to the cloud technology, to the advanced robotics, to the autonomous vehicle, to the next generation genomics, you'll find that 3D printing, energy storage, advanced materials, renewable energy, and advanced gas exploration and recovery has been stated in the global technology mission and endorsed by the National Scientific Foundation, constituted by the US. I still honor them as the #1 science and technology, and therefore they are the superpower. You find that the energy technologies occupy such an important. But where are we in India on this? And that's where we need to reboot missing links in India. It's very important. I've done this study. Can you see the left-hand side where the developed world in the energy sector, in the electricity sector, came out of that very important foundation, which was the Golden Triangle. The industry, the research institution, the academia, the government formed and invested billions of dollars, not few millions, billions of dollars. Today, photovoltaic is a $2 trillion research institution. And we know that as we are going to build trillions of photovoltaic plants, this basic development of technology at a very core is kind of making that happen. But look at what happened in India on the right-hand side. India got into a very different kind of a thing because there were no technology platforms. We started with engineering. That is what British did to us. Created a sugar thing in HBTI in Kanpur and paper. We wanted engineers only to do the engineering and not get into the know-why portion. Our limited knowledge was know-how and never a know-why. And therefore, technology took a beating, but for few sectors like space, atomic energy. Now, it's important that we acknowledge this. I'm not saying that there was a historical necessity for us to get into this kind of engineering and not on the technology, but important to realize that a time has come where we need to really get back to that particular fundamental thing. Unless we do that, any amount of superstructure we build will crumble, So my dear friends, please understand this. I mean, it's very important. I don't know whether I'm communicating to all of you. There's a huge lot of things I'm not going to be spending all the time, but the message is that we need to bring it back. And therefore, what luxury the developed countries had from engineering to technology to do all these things, we don't have today when you are saying that we want to be taking certain nimble steps in technology building. Therefore, we have missed many technological revolutions from semiconductors to the vaccine to the polymer, which were very critical as a part of our technology developmental plan. But I think we can hardly ignore at our peril in this cutting-edge developments of energy spectrum. So I would like to say that in the fossil domain, if you want to bring back the technology element in our development and make them disruptive, and innovation can change the rules of the game, it is A, performance enhancement, emission control, new generation clean, distributed energy, and huge amount of energy efficiency technologies. These are all very credible and very critical technologies that Indian establishment, both at the industry and the public sector and the academia and research institutions and the policymakers strongly must pursue. On the renewable domain, grid connected and off-grid, solar, wind, biomass. I think it's very important that we integrate all of them. India has got this kind of a natural abundance of these materials. Today we talked about the hydrocarbons. How many of us know that biomass can be a huge substitute for the hydrocarbons, because getting methane and methanol and then getting into the liquid fuels is something which is today the development in the nano bio enables us to do that. It's only then that we need to put resources. Huge amount of intellectual resources, huge amount of knowledge is required. And if we are able to do that, lot of this dependence on the hydrocarbon sector, and we talk about geopolitical security issues and various things, can be very well managed because they provide a buffer for us in terms of whatever are the vulnerabilities that we face, which we got to know in the mind. And we know very clearly that India need to get into that. Solar, wind, nuclear, biomass form a credible option. India has got plenty. Solar alone, and I have written an article in the Engineering Science and Economic and Political Weekly that by 2050, solar will replace 90% of India's energy security. You can challenge me on that. All the solar heating, 30% of our energy goes for industrial heating, oil, diesel, furnace oil, can be replaced by solar in a very well-developed India-centric technologies. Micro CHPs, combined heat pool core. So we have got all these things which are available. So if you say discovery is penicillin, invention is light bulb, innovation is a retail store, we need all these three so-called technology, innovation, discovery, and innovation in making this development happen. I just want you to bring what technologies can do. Just about 4 years back, when I was a part of the National Solar Mission, we said PV will never happen because $6 a peak watt is just impossible because the cost of electricity would be about 29 rupees if you take a conventional levelized costing method. And just in 3 years' time, you have seen that how this whole thing has skyrocketed and fallen to less than $1, and it's coming to less than 0.440 cents a peak watt. How is it happened? It happened through the instrument of technologies, innovation. I mean, I don't want to get into the details what happened. You can see the space completely crowded with huge amount of development, ubiquitous development, developments at all levels. Somehow, I feel very sorry that my country, we are not able to really get that act together in terms of making this all-pervasive things. Grid parity is the ultimate panacea, if you say. Solar is almost reaching there, almost reaching there. And how did this non-linear take place? Is it due to the technological breakthrough? And my dear friends, so therefore I can go on, but let me tell you, India has got enough intellectual strength, and we keep on saying that unless we actually able to get that golden triangle back into our developmental mode, we will not be able to reach that. And we have been trying to do that today. I think there's a sufficient amount of awareness how important to leverage this intellectual pool of talent that is available in the country, and we can get a lot of those expat talent coming from, I'm working in various systems. I mean, I just want to tell you that we built about 2 years back world's first concept of a solar-cooled triple effect cooling system in the National Institute of Solar Energy. First time, a completely India-centric development using the solar energy for direct cooling. And when we know that this is the kind of a world's first development, and today India consumes about 29 gigawatts of power for cooling. Look at this particular room, and the amount of energy guzzling, the cooling is taking place as the comfort demand is increasing. You can find that you can directly convert this, and this technology is available. We have also developed a lot of this kind of a distributed using solar, biomass, and this is something which has been considered as the world's. In fact, just about 2 days back, we had this entire team from National Energy Research Laboratories and Department of Energy to come and see this model. How do we mimic this model of what we have created? So I just want to assure you that there's a lot of development happening, but they're not getting into the real field. So important thing is how to prevent technology domination by others. How do you get the immunity against technology denial in the high technology areas, international collaboration and equal partnership, development of a technological self-reliance? That would require a huge amount of investments, and I would like to suggest that we need more system integration technologies than very fundamental science-based. We need to balance, but the focus should be how do you really have, in the energy scenarios, in the energy technologies, get this particular well-articulated goals, state those goals with good regards for entire power sector from the technology point of view. And unfortunately, I don't find that discourse happening, that dialogue happening in many quarters at the policy, political, as well as at the scientific level. I want that discourse to come back, create a competitive space. There need not be a crony R&D like the crony capitalism for several consortia, and create knowledge partners, bring viability gap funding, national clean energy funding for part financing such technological projects, and have a roadmap for a large-scale proliferation created simultaneously. I think I'm not saying that this is the route, but this is something which I thought can be very elegantly done. I mean, I have articulated some 7 goals. And my dear friends, I think for want of time, I'm not getting into those details on what we can do in increasing the efficiency, how do you bring the simulation sciences, how do you bring the mathematical modeling, how do you bring the robotic maintenance, how do you do the technology for emission control, how do you do the low-grade energy, how do you combine the solar with Rankine cycle, how do you really bring new clean coal technologies, and therefore, I mean, I just want to say that we need to bring this technology and innovation together, and hence, I would conclude 7 goals are credible goals: technology at the back of innovation, industry consortium like IPPAI and academia research institution develop national level projects, enhance funding from NCF, innovation must be all pervasive. Thank you very much. I'll come back a little later on the waste to energy systems.